Hare Krishna. Question: why did the Pandavas conspire to kill Drona? Answer: the Pandavas did not conspire, and secondly, they did not intend to kill Drona. Let's try to understand this. Firstly, on the 15th day of the Kurukshetra war, when Drona was the commander, that was the day when eventually Drona fell. So at that time, Drona was becoming increasingly irritated and infuriated by the goading of Duryodhana. Duryodhana was accusing Drona of partiality towards the Pandavas, because of which he accused that Drona was not fighting wholeheartedly. And because of not fighting wholeheartedly, that's why his army, Duryodhana's army, was having reversals. So now, because of this, Drona became infuriated, and by this fury, he got into a spell, and he started using celestial weapons to kill ordinary soldiers. Now, according to Kshatriya codes, celestial weapons are meant to be used against other warriors who may also be having celestial weapons. Celestial weapons are not meant to be indiscriminately discharged against soldiers who are not at all equipped to fight with such weapons. So the point is that he was he started himself acting unethically, and when he started acting unethically, the seven sages, along with his father Gautam Rishi, they all appeared, and they told him that, oh Drona, uh, you are acting heinously, you are acting in a sinful way, stop such fighting. Now, Drona at that time was troubled by their words, and he kept fighting. He was fighting so furiously uh, because of being goaded by Duryodhana's words, that he just was slaughtering the Pandava soldiers, and he was slaughtering them in an indiscriminate, unethical way. So at that time, Krishna, he told Yudhishthir that actually Drona has to be stopped, otherwise he will destroy your whole army. And then Krishna said, how can Drona be stopped? The way to stop him is, when Yudhishthir had gone and asked Drona, how will we be able to stop you? So Drona had said that actually I will you cannot defeat me, you cannot kill me, you will not be able to defeat me. That's what he had said. But if I hear some disagreeable news from a trustworthy source, then I will myself put down my weapons, and then I can be overcome. So he had spoken in a very enigmatic way, and Krishna remembered that, and Krishna now told that, oh Yudhishthir, that Drona is very attached to his son Ashwatthama. So if you tell him that Ashwatthama is dead, then he will not be able to, he will not have the spirit to fight. And now Arjuna had great reservations about this idea, and so had Yudhishthir. But Bhima, who was very concerned that their army was being slaughtered, Bhima immediately went over and he shouted in the hearing of Drona, Ashwatthama is dead, Ashwatthama is dead, Ashwatthama is dead. Now before this, what he did was that he charged into the opposite army, and there was an elephant division, and within that elephant division there was a big elephant named Ashwatthama, and he just smashed the head of that elephant during the course of fighting with the elephant warrior, and he destroyed the elephant and the elephant warrior together. So now after doing that, he went back and said Ashwatthama is dead. Now here he left it to Dhritarashtra to Dronacharya to interpret it. He did not say Ashwatthama, your son is dead. He said Ashwatthama is dead. And Dronacharya started trembling. His heart trembled, his body trembled at the thought that his son could be dead. Then he remembered his son's prowess and he thought, no, my son cannot be killed. This Bhima is playful, and he must have spoken counterfactually. So he kept fighting, but still his heart was shaken on hearing this. And then he saw Yudhishthir in the vicinity, and when he saw Yudhishthir, he asked Yudhishthir, I have heard that Ashwatthama has been killed, is this true? So Yudhishthir, Krishna, as Drona was approaching, Yudhishthir, Krishna told Yudhishthir, now this is the, O king, now this is the time for you to save your army. And when Drona asked this question to Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir nodded his head gravely and said, Yudhishthir is dead. And as soon as he spoke this, Krishna blew his conch shell. And at that time, Yudhishthir had a Narova Kunjarova. Whether it is the man or the elephant, I do not know. It can be the man or it can be the elephant. So the point is that he did not make it specific. But Drona was so overcome by grief at that time that Drona did not hear it. And he just lost his will to fight. And he decided, at that time he also remembered the words of the sages who had told him to desist from fighting. And he decided that his time had come, and he sat down in a yogic posture, yogic pose on the chariot itself, and he lost himself in a trance, desiring to end his life in a yogic trance. Now, when this happened, at that time, Drishtadyumna, he immediately charged forward towards Drona with his upraised sword. And when the warriors, even the Pandava warriors, understood what Drishtadyumna had in mind, they were horrified. Arjuna shouted to Drishtadyumna, "Stop!" But Drishtadyumna was so blinded by fury. Drishtadyumna had been born for the death of Drona. His father, Drupada, had performed a yajna from which Drishtadyumna had been born, and that he had been born for the death of Drona. But he had been no match to Drona, and time again he had fought against Drona, but Drona had overpowered him very easily. So Drishtadyumna was infuriated by his inability to fulfill his destiny, and thus being blinded by rage, he just charged towards Drona and dragged him off the chariot by his head and lopped off the head of Drona. And at that time the Pandavas were shocked. Yudhishthira and Arjuna, they were aghast, because Arjuna's plan was not to kill Drona. Their plan was to disarm Drona. And once Drona was disarmed, Drona had given up his martial spirit because on hearing the news of Ashwathama's death. Then they were planning to have Drona arrested and place him in arrest till the end of the war, because they considered he was a Brahmana and he was their teacher, and they got no joy in fighting against him, and they did not want to kill him. But circumstances happened in such a way that Drishtadyumna took the extreme step against the desire of Arjuna and Yudhishthir, and he killed Drona. So it was yes, Yudhishthir did speak not exactly a lie, but spoke something which was open to be interpreted in a counterfactual way, and he did that because that was the only way Drona could be stopped at that time. Drona was in a frenzy of fury, being goaded by Duryodhana's unkind, harsh words, and Drona was himself fighting unethically, using celestial weapons to kill ordinary soldiers. So because he was fighting in a frenzy of fury, because he was fighting unethically, so at that time Yudhishthir had to do whatever it took. And when Krishna told him to do such a thing, he did not hesitate. He did not stop. He thought about it, but eventually he did it. And again, so it was not a conspiracy; it was a necessity at that time, because Drona himself had started fighting unethically, and they had to do whatever it took to protect their army. And their plan was not to kill Drona, but that was an impulsive action which Drishtadyumna did, and Drishtadyumna bore the reaction for that when later on he was killed by Ashwathama. So the point here was that it was not that the Pandavas conspired to kill Drona, rather they planned so that they could stop Drona from doing unethical action, from fighting unethically against their army. But because of Drishtadyumna's impulsiveness, Drona was killed. Thank you. Hare.